$68 a piece home, $68.
No, yeah.
All right, call to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, on roll call, Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Here.
Ms. Gelbaugh.
Here.
Dr. Lewis.
Here.
Mrs. Rankin, take your
Here.
seat, please. Take your seat. Mr. York.
Here?
All right. All right, now, tonight, we have some special guests with us tonight, so we're going to pause the meeting in here for a minute and do some special things here. I hope everybody's listening. All right, I'm going to come around to the front. Why don't you guys stand up? All right, we have a proclamation here tonight from the Office of the Record. Whereas all the members of Marymount Preschool Parents Group, with special help from Ashley Croft, Jess Evans, and Becca Hallat, volunteered countless hours to diligently plan the Village of Marymount's annual tree lighting and luminaria night, which took place on December the 3rd, 2022. Whereas luminaria has become a treasured holiday tradition in the Village of Marymount, dating back to 1990, when it was known as Light Up the Night, until it was combined with the Marymount Christmas Walk, and by 1992, it had evolved into the annual tree lighting and luminaria night. Whereas members of MPPG have carried the tradition through the decades, raising funds by selling luminaria kits, adding a house decorating contest, horse-drawn carriage rides, working with Santa's elves to make a route through the village with family photo opportunities along this route. It's a great thing. Whereas the residents, especially the children, which are paying strict attention here tonight, of this village very much appreciate Santa Claus taking time out of his busy schedule to visit our community each year and bring magic to the season to Marymount. Now, therefore, I, William A. Brown, mayor of this wonderful village, Village of Marymount, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, December the 20th, now it starts tomorrow, guys, got all day, December the 20th, 2022, as Marymount Preschool Parents Group Day in the Village of Marymount, and encourage all citizens and visitors to this community to join in this special recognition. And I
It's proclamation.
Picture. Where's my,
Picture.
oh, I can.
In front of the pretty things.
Not the Coke can.
Yeah.
Somebody blocked the Coke can.
Of course.
Is that yours? I know.
Oh, you should get in there.
Come on, Bill. Jeez.
Yay.
Yay!
Congratulations. Thank you.
can share with everybody.
Yeah, this contest here. Oh, oh, yeah, you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
It
you.
was a great night. It was awesome.
I know, it was lovely.
Mine is nothing special. It's pretty.
They were great.
Candy cane.
They were very patient. They were very good.
That's unique and creative and fun.
All these redheads.
Everywhere.
Nothing to write home about.
Okay, guys, moving on. Any questions regarding the minutes?
You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Minutes from the November 28th meeting. No questions?
No questions.
All right, a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right.
So are we gonna go ahead and post the village annual report? Because that was one of the things that Richard recommended. We're gonna make sure that gets done. I think it should be. I mean,
The
we
annual
all agreed,
report,
we all agreed in the
once we-
meeting, we said it would make a decision.
Yeah, you mean the 2021 or 2022?
Well, I would start with 2021. It'd be good to have a little history,
Yeah.
right? You know, 2021, 2022, and just start to accumulate some of that stuff in there. Because we can store it on the website, you know, it's just available for underneath the tabs.
All right. Who's doing this?
You're so cute. I can't even stand it.
I can get it to Joni to
Okay,
have posted.
okay, all right. Well, can do
We
that.
won't have the 2022, of course, till we
Yeah,
close, but
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right, in communications, we'll start with Chief Hines' report. Chief, you want to, anything to add to this? You want to outline this in any way? Anybody have any questions?
Actually, I had a quick question, and I'm embarrassed that I haven't asked this before. Miscellaneous activity, places found open. Exactly what does that mean, places
Well,
found
that's
open?
when our officers check businesses, mostly overnight. If they find a business that's not secure, that's a place found open, or on a residential check, vacation check, if they find a door open that's not secure, that's a place that's found open, and they'll check the interior and make sure everything's good, and then we'll secure the door on their way out if they can, and they'll leave a note, or we'll make contact with the owners right away.
Okay, thank you.
I also want to call out, Becca, you sent a very nice letter to the chief, you know, thanking him for his help and assistance. It was very sweet of you to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, very nice.
thank you.
That's
Becca.
how you get an
Did a
award
nice-
right
they did-
there.
You guys did a nice job that night.
That's not what she does. She's just.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Assistant Fire Chief Copeland's report. Any questions? The chief is not, we don't have a fireman with us tonight. Guess if we have any questions, you can contact him directly.
He just got called out.
Okay. Where'd Sherp go? Oh. Bug out of here?
He left.
He had a call, so
Yeah, he's already starting his vacation. Okay. Well, anyway, we have his report. It's too bad he didn't stick around to answer a question, but I guess it's fairly straightforward. If you've got a question, we can contact him tomorrow. All right. Tax Administrator Barlow, any questions regarding that report? Chuck, anything to add?
We need about, as of right now, today, at the end of the day, we need about 40,000 more to meet last year.
Year.
to meet This year's budget. Hopefully we'll get there. We've got, 6 days up, I guess, of collection, but it's kind of slowed down the fourth quarter a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bless you.
thank you.
okay. Well, I know, but we're moving into the holiday. You really expect $40,000 to come pouring in between now and the end of the year? People have Christmas presents to buy.
That will be our Christmas present.
Well, some of that's withholding.
Yeah.
Because people have another check, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the Building Department report, Mr. Holloway.
We'll take nothing unique other than it seems like compliance issues are getting worse.
You're talking about with the rental inspections possibly?
Actually talking about
Building
building permits.
permits?
Continue to generate and walk around the village quite a bit. I'd say about 50% of this month's permits were initiated just through interacting with the residents themselves.
Yeah,
Really interesting.
yeah, which
So
is,
you're having to walk around the village and say, hey, where's your permit?
yeah.
Not nice.
Any input or suggestions beyond town prior articles to encourage folks?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have this discussion all the time. I mean, are we not doing enough to say, get the word out? Do residents still not understand that you know, you must have a building permit for most remodeling?
It's not just one area, by the way, it's not just one section of town.
Yeah, it's
not just high-end
village-wide.
homes or lower-end homes, it's across all spectrums, I'd say.
I think what happens a lot too with that is that a homeowner calls a contractor to come in and do a remodeling job, and they'll say, well, don't we need a permit? And the contractor says,
Oh, no, you don't need that.
Right.
So somehow we need to get the message out to the contractors every bit as much as to the homeowners, and I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, if I had a good answer for that one. And then I do know though, what about the rental inspections?
Well, last month was a good month, we had about 16, I think,
Mm-hmm.
3 big customers, but, December's took a downturn, so for sure we'll be off track in December. And, I think Randy's facilitating a meeting in January to bring folks in, and I think we'll share some results, what's happened to date, and also encourage some of the other people that haven't actually done a single, application to go ahead and get it done.
Okay.
I haven't received any complaints on anybody so far, any inspections have happened. I don't know, Chief, if you've got any complaints about it. Good.
Okay.
So we've invited them, as you know, on January 11th.
I know we got the meeting set.
And I think that, you know, now that they're learning this isn't a witch hunt, we're just trying to do the right thing. I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
our compliance is improving.
Okay.
We're probably up to about 55 units we've gone into so far. And I'd say of the 55, maybe 50 of them, they got a permit for 5 years. And the remaining 5, there were some follow-ups, had to get done within 90 days. But nobody's really complained, so it's gone pretty smooth.
Okay. But we anticipated doing, what was it, 130-some units a year, right? That's
Correct.
roughly a third of the 400
Yeah, so
and,
we're about actually halfway to our goal probably for this year that started August 1st.
yeah, right, okay.
But it's slowed down in December for sure.
Yeah, okay. Well,
That makes sense.
thank you, Rod. All right, the fiscal officer's report. Questions on that one?
Yeah, the only thing I would add to it is, if we look at our estimated revenue, or actual revenue received year-to-date and actual expenses, we should be in the black in most of our funds. The one fund that we used some carryover was the state highway. And then in the general fund, we had to transfer $278,000 out when we separated those capital improvement funds. So that was part of those capital improvement funds. And then, but if we subtract that, we're in the black right now. We still have one payroll, which it should be really close. So being in the black as far as not using any rollover. So we're trending pretty well in all of our funds.
Great.
Any other questions? Rob?
No, Richard and I have been talking.
Okay,
Keep an
okay.
update. I appreciate all the work you've been doing, Richard, with this stuff. so.
So, thank you.
Doing a very, very, very good job.
Here, here.
Okay, we have a very nice letter from Rex Beavis thanking us for recognizing Sharon at the one meeting. Y'all take a look at it, it was very nice. We have a nice little letter here from Mr. Portman, sort of more or less congratulating us on 100 years here in the village. He's not entirely certain whether or not he's going to be able to make it to our centennial celebration. I guess, Randy, you've actually had some contact with the office, correct?
Yeah. Well, he'll be a private citizen at that point.
Yeah, well,
We
but-
did,
He'll be on a
we
farm
did talk to
somewhere.
Landsman's office, and we talked to Cedric Denson's office. They both said they'll come,
Oh, good.
Okay,
but it's a long way out.
okay. Did you just pick my papers up? You just pick my papers
I
up?
thought that was mine. You can have it back.
All right, and I already mentioned the letter from Becca, very nice. All right, permission to address council. No? No takers? Okay. Last opportunity of the year to get up and say something.
Don't take the bait.
Randy, have we invited Winstrip Are we Ohio 1? I mean, Ohio 2?
Did you want to invite?
We got redistricted.
Oh, we got re-registered.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Oh, Brad's not.
I was like, aren't we?
He went west, east, I'm sorry.
You went east. Thank
So
you.
we went with Cedric Denson and then Greg Landsman
Came through.
and J.D. Vance for,
Yeah, but that's
Congress.
statewide. Yeah, okay. Thank you. I was remembering wrong.
All right, any questions regarding the bills?
So one thing that I need to add into the bill list, Eli turned in a reimbursement request, and this is for some expenses that she incurred on her personal credit card, and this is over the course of the last couple of years, which is why I'm bringing this up separately, because I can't pay this without council approving, because this is old, so just as an FYI, if you are gonna buy something on behalf of the village, you gotta turn it in within the same year, usually within the same month. But these were reoccurring expenses. She is transferring this to our credit card. It's not a whole lot. It totals 101.87. And a lot of these are like $3.63 expenses, which is why she didn't turn them in every month. But, I need council to approve that 101.87. She did incur them. They are legitimate expenses, but they go back into 21. So it's 21 and 22. So I just need a motion to approve those with the bills.
So moved.
Can I ask just clarification?
Yes.
Do you have any concerns that we're setting a precedent that is problematic?
As far as,
Well, if we do this, I mean, I don't mind. It's not about it all makes sense, so there's no problem there. Are we opening ourselves up to, if this happens again, us having to approve?
so it has happened with one other person. They have to come and present those to council as well. So people should not be using their personal credit cards for any village expenses. That's a big no-no. So what I'm trying to do is stop all of that. But in the meantime, we are liable for expenses that are our expense. But no one should be using personal credit cards for that. I obviously didn't know this was reoccurring. And then the other case, I didn't know he had incurred it either. But again, address that as well. So, if he brings it up for approval, we'll have to approve that as well if he brings it to council. But we can't reimburse prior years like that, not on reimbursements. They need to be done immediately. But they shouldn't be being done. We should be paying for those, so.
I don't think going forward is going to be an issue, because we seem to, now that we've on the new accounting system, and I think everybody now understands the purchasing procedure, you got to have a PO, you got to, who's going to get charged you, so on and so forth. In the past, we were a little, lax about some of that kind of stuff. So personally, I don't anticipate it being a problem going forward.
Okay, thank you.
But there is one more of these issues that is sort of hanging out there that we'll address into the first of the year.
How, is that also a small amount?
I think it's a higher amount over a course of 3 years, I believe. It's from 2020, 21. And again, they're legitimate expenses, but they should have been turned in right away. And I think it's one of those things where people kind of just do, what they're doing to help. Unfortunately, that's not how we need to operate. So we're changing that process, but in the meantime,
Understood.
we need to reimburse expenses to the village. But yeah, hopefully we don't have this. I'm only aware of those two, this one and the other one. And the other one came up before, and I let them know, no, we can't do it without it coming to council. And then I get this one. I'm like, well, this one came to me today, and I'm like, well, we can do this today because this is something that I can present. The other one, they need to present it due to a relationship with someone here, so.
Thank you.
So I need a second.
We need
A second.
Well, did somebody make a motion?
Rob did. I second.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, we'll pay the bills. Let's see, I think we have one committee report. Susan, are you going to read it for us?
Oh, am I gonna read the committee? Oh,
Yes, you are. That'll teach you to make long.
She's very brief.
That'll get you paying attention.
Am I reading this? Okay. The Rules and Law met. We met on, the Rules and Law Committee met on Monday, December 12th, 2022 at 5 p.m. Present were Kelly Rankin, Dr. Marcy Lewis, Mayor Bill Brown, Chuck Barlow, Chief Rick Hines, Joni Van Pelt, and myself. I reviewed the process for updating the new employee manual and producing the current draft. The process included multiple meetings since May 2022, excuse me, and edits from the department heads. Department heads also received 3 weeks to review and provide comment edits to the final draft. Edits were reviewed with the committee. Myself thanked Joni Van Pelt for her leadership in the process. Solicitor McTeague, reviewed the manual and made one recommendation, which was incorporated into the draft. Said email is attached. The committee recommends council approve the updated employee manual and corresponding employee salary ordinance, which is recommended to be approved on an emergency basis due to pending January holidays. The committee also discussed Section 150.18, pending concerns from the building administrator, Rod Holloway. It is recommended that council continue with the original recommendation made by the Rules and Law Committee, which was accepted by council in October 2020, to strike Section 150.18, as full council has now passed alternative language approved by the Economic Planning and Zoning Committee. It is recommended that the solicitor prepare the necessary legislation. Respectfully submitted, myself, Kelly Rankin, and Dr. Marcy Lewis.
Okay, you've heard the report. Do I have a motion and a second to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
Right. Second. All right, any discussion here?
Great work.
Really good.
This is
Long
amazing.
time coming.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That was really good work.
Well, Joni gets the credit. And then all of the department heads, frankly. So thank you, Joni.
Where's her proclamation?
Well, you know, give me something to do
you're
with
on
the
a
first
roll.
year. Mr. Bartlett,
Yeah, make
Aye.
sure-
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, that will be accepted.
Both of those may come off the agenda, is that right?
I
Finally,
believe so,
Yes.
finally. All right, a couple things in miscellaneous.
I'm just trying to.
This week, I was confused thinking that today was the last day, but apparently this week is the last week for the pickup of village leaves. Village offices will be closed Friday, December the 23rd, and Monday, December the 26th, in observation of Christmas. Village offices will be closed January the 2nd, 2023, in observation of New Year's Day. And what is this? Refer Section 3101 Planning Commission to the Rules and Law Committee. Change from 7 members to 5. What is this? I thought we already did this. Is this your thing, Kelly? I mean, is your thing, Susan?
What are you looking at me for?
That's a surprise to me.
Who requested this?
Where are you?
I don't think anyone did. I don't know why you would want to do that.
Well, no. I mean, we mistakenly went to 7 members, and now we're back to 5 as in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code. I don't know what this is. Well, all
You
right.
can take it off.
Yeah, okay.
Take it off, Chris.
We'll scratch that.
Okay.
I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
uh-oh. I missed that.
Are you ready?
All right, resolutions.
All right, this is the third reading to appoint Robert Van Stone as a member of the Records Commission Board.
All right, you just had the third reading. I need a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right. Bob, you're on.
Yay.
Rusty's in the club.
He's gonna call for a recount.
Sure you don't want to, do you want to get up and say a few words?
Nope.
All right, this is the third reading to reappoint Ted Beach, Terry Donovan, and Andy Rohall as a member of the Pool Commission for the calendar years 2023 and 2024.
Okay, a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Well, you just heard the third reading, motion and a second. So
Second.
move Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis. Ms. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, they're on.
Okay, this is the third reading to confirm the appointment of Michael Lockhart as swim pool manager for calendar year 2023 and to set compensation.
Okay, you've had the third reading, motion and a second, please.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, he's on.
Okay. This is the third reading to amend section 37.05 Swim Pool Commission of the Marymount Code of Ordinances.
Okay, that's the third reading, a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Okay.
All right. This is the first reading to amend ordinance O-1722 of the Marymount Code of Ordinances to increase payment for employees and to declare emergency.
All right, you've had the first reading. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis. Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Well, I tripped myself up. I'm going too fast. Mr. York.
Aye.
All right. May we have the second reading, please?
To amend ordinance O-1722 of the Marymount Code of Ordinances to increase payment for employees and to declare emergency.
Okay, that's the second reading. Is there any discussion? Does everybody understand? We all know what this is?
No.
No,
I
we don't.
no, I just was curious what the changes are. I'm assuming, is that because were the changes made to the employee handbook that are now being incorporated in here, or what's the change?
The holidays.
The holidays.
The increase in the holidays.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yes,
got it.
right here. section.
Okay, so that's what got changed. I just wasn't sure which section got changed. Got it.
Well, I think it tells you in the, you can read it.
It
doesn't- it-
It didn't.
It
It doesn't,
Oh, sorry. Okay.
But yes, it's the holidays.
because I thought, Ed, we had to use, like, here's the prior legislation, here's the current proposed changes. And so it was just, I was just curious, that's fine. I got it now.
Okay, may we have the third reading?
To amend ordinance O-1722 of the Marymount Code of Ordinances to increase payment for employees and to declare emergency.
Also here, too.
All right, I need a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis. Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, I need a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause, please.
So moved.
Second.
I got Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Okay. Give me a second here. I'm lost in my papers over here. We're moving on to ordinance number,
O-2222.
O 2222,
02222.
Yeah, just the
annual
appropriations
appropriations.
Hey, Bill, it's O-2222.
yeah. Does anybody else want to tell me what it is?
Wait, I'm gonna
Chime in, Randy.
Okay, no, I'm good. I've got it right here. I'm sorry. I've got it right here. Go ahead.
To supplement ordinance number O-2222, annual appropriation ordinance, and to declare emergency.
All right. You've had the first reading. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Second. Somebody got it over there? Okay. Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York. May we
Aye.
have the second reading, please?
To supplement ordinance number O-2222, annual appropriation ordinance, and to declare emergency.
Okay, that's the second reading. It's a discussion. Any discussion? Y'all fairly clear about this one, too?
Well, I think, Richard, this is like the initial, because we're going to come back and fine tune it at the end of January, right?
So, no, this is to amend the
Oh, the amended,
2022.
okay. The
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah, so what this is just, we had to reallocate dollars within departments, from one department to another. And so this is essentially amending our appropriations to account for all those reallocations. Typically, we want to do those before, but in this case, we're doing it retroactively. Hopefully, we won't have this next year when we put our permanent budget together. But it's just mending 2022s.
Y'all good? Susan, you good? Yeah, okay. May we then have the third reading, please?
To supplement ordinance number 02222, annual appropriation ordinance, and to declare emergency.
All right, motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett? Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
And Mr. York?
Aye.
All right. Now I need a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, we're in business on that one. I think, one more to go.
Yes. An ordinance to make temporary appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Marymount, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023.
Okay. Again, you've heard the first reading, a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh?
Aye.
Yeah, no? Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, may we have the second reading?
An ordinance to make temporary appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Marymount, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023.
Okay, again, Richard, any discussion on this? Everybody, we all clear?
Yeah, just the only point I would make is, I know we just approved all those capital projects, but that is not in this budget yet because I have to wait for the official certificate that will include the revenue for that 4901 fund, which was just renewed on this past election, so those dollars are not on our certificate, so we can't actually budget that. That's why this is so low, where we can only budget what we expect the rollover to be. So this is very partial. We'll do a permanent one in January, at the end of January.
Okay. Everyone clear? Third reading, please.
An ordinance to make temporary appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Marymount, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023.
Okay, motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Ms. Gelbaugh?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right. Now I need another motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Brown Knight?
Aye.
Gelbaugh?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, that takes us through all the ordinances. And since we still have some time in the evening, and we'll do the task list here quickly, and then Randy wants to say a few words to us. And I would ask, please, if you don't have a comment that you wish to make about the task list, is it that we're doing the task list?
Yeah, first one.
Yeah, first one, okay. You simply can say that you don't have anything to say about it and move on.
You get the first one.
You want mine?
Well,
Yeah, here. Oh, yours is better than mine?
yeah,
Don't have anything,
I was
right?
running my mouth and I have nothing more to say. Well, I think Richard has basically, given us the commentary for this evening's meeting regarding our financial recap.
Well, yeah. His was 2022. This is actually 2021. That was,
Okay,
we never went through that. So.
all right, well, we'll get to it. All right, the Murray Path, we're done.
Take it off, go on.
Take it off, can we take it off?
Bye-bye.
Oh, you're right, because we did get the final kind of reimbursement there too. Yes, that was good. The boathouse roof, again, we talked about that earlier this evening. That's an ongoing thing I'm involved with. I'm sourcing material and so on and so forth and tracking whether it's leaking.
And it didn't get funded again.
And it didn't get funded again anyway.
So is it on the task?
So, well, it's not going to be off the list because this requires constant monitoring, and
Okay.
that I will be doing.
Okay.
I mean, it needs to be addressed at some point in time.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does, it does.
Well, just keep in mind, we still had, 17 left in that 4901 fund, so if you get some quotes of things, when we do the permanent budget, we could include that into that budget if you guys so choose.
Okay,
But that's up to you
Okay.
guys, obviously.
yeah. Randy, the hydrants and curbs, I think we could talk about that.
That just got funded.
It just
so.
got funded.
We skipped the benches.
Hot off the press.
You skipped the benches, Bill. You skipped the benches, number 4.
The oh, the benches. Clean up the village benches. Leah?
So what we're gonna do, John and I are going to actually go ahead on the week between Christmas and New Year's, go walk around and see which ones we can hold on to, which ones we need to replace right away, and then we're gonna start talking about which actual bench we're gonna order, because it's one of those things that since we're not replacing them all at once, we want one that is gonna stay in the manufacturer's, basically, catalog. So we just need to make sure we get one that's gonna be around for a while, so we can. go to
But
that.
we're not going back to teak or,
No, there's one, and what is his last name? Martin?
Kepke.
Oh, Martin
Kep-
Kepke.
Kepke. There was one that he had, and it's really nice. So it's got, the arms and structure of it are metal, but then the slats where you'd be sitting and leaning against their wood, and they're really nice. They would look really good as we're replacing them, because they're kind of the same color as the teak ones.
okay, no, wait. The slats and things are wood? You mean they're not
Well-
some vinyl?
It's like a. it's-
Brazilian walnut.
Yeah,
It's
they're
Brazilian
really
walnut.
pretty.
And it's actually, it can get cleaned, power pressure and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
it's
So,
they're
again,
really nice.
Martin's done all the research.
Okay,
on this.
because, I mean, teak is like the wood of, sailors and skippers on big boats, and, it's,
It is.
can
but it
withstand the
also
sea
gets
spray and all
moldy.
that kind of stuff, but they're a mess out there, and
Yeah.
apparently we can't clean them.
Well, we can.
Well, I
clean
mean, it's a
them.
huge
It's a
undertaking
really
to
big
clean 'em,
deal
yeah.
to clean them.
Okay, all right, well,
So we're gonna figure out, which ones we're gonna replace first. Mr. Bartlett has already purchased 2 of them.
maybe,
So-
yeah, maybe we can, or I will go
Are
and
we
take a
gonna
look
look at some that are not necessarily replacing, just removing?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
because there's some that no one ever sits on.
Right, they're just in a,
There's one
oh, I know where it is.
over there. It's a
Did see
muddy
it.
mess.
Person
Ugh.
Well,
sleeping
unless
on
you're in your
it.
work clothes, you don't want to sit down on it, you know what I mean? It's
Well,
not
but
inviting.
like there's a couple that you wouldn't want to stop and sit there.
Oh,
They're kind of in strange locations.
okay. Okay, well, all right.
So we're gonna take some out.
Okay.
All right,
We don't need 64.
all right, Randy, the hydrants.
just
Assessing the.
talked
par-
about that.
We just kind of talked about
We're
that,
good.
assessing the park, what needs to be fixed, potential, so on and so forth, grants,
Ongoing.
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 I like that. See, I love that. That's a good answer, ongoing.
CBD.
All right, swimming pool, again, Leah?
So we just got approved for the 20,000 to redo the interior of the, and we need to stop calling it the bathhouse, but it's the changing rooms. That's just a weird thing to call
It
it.
is weird.
Huh.
Have we, how close are we for 2022 and how we did?
For the pool itself,
Performance. Yeah, financial performance for 2022.
what did we end up doing with, how much did we end up paying them on the final contract?
Well,
for
from what
since the pool
so
management?
what I've figured, we lost about $28,000 in direct expense. So that's not counting, time and labor that, John's department put in.
Yeah,
Does that include the capital improvement spending too?
we didn't spend
No,
any.
No.
nothing
Didn't
in
have
there.
any.
That's just the revenue in the general fund, and expenses in the general fund. So, and concessions, that includes concession revenue and expenses.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited about next season. I think, we've got a good plan in place. I mean, we still have the pool committee and things like that. You guys are working like crazy, so we all stay pulling together on this. I think we can have a much, much better season down there this coming year. I mean, I'm very positive, trying to stay very positive about it. Okay, well, fixing the leak at the pool, I think I talked about that earlier this evening. It's, it's out there, it's ongoing. The 3-year master plan at the pool facilities. Randy?
Well, as soon as we get 22 done and we'll
Yeah,
start
so
working on.
we're gonna meet with Chuck and Mike Lockhart and Randy, our whole committee, and figure out what we need to do going forward.
Right.
We're gonna try and make sure we do expand to the school district. We have talked, when we were talking with Richard about it, we need to really add about 54 new members this next season, just to break even.
At the family level?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, so we're gonna really try and get things out to the high school and put it in their email blasts. And there's just things in the work that we're gonna start with Mike, you know, as soon as that we get back from the holidays, because he wants to start hiring and getting kids trained to be lifeguards, and he's ready to go. I mean, the firemen went over, and they're putting in the plexiglass for the pump room, so as soon as that's put in, we're gonna go clean up the pump room.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's all moving forward, and Mike's really excited, and I think it's gonna be great season.
Okay, sounds good. All right, master plan for improving the office space, I think we talked about that earlier this evening. Thank you for giving me some money so we can do that. The improvements at the Bell Tower baseball fields. Mr. York?
Well, we've got the bid out, so. All right.
Oh, we'll come back, okay, yeah, okay. And John, see, he always bugs out on me.
Yeah.
What about the lights at the batting cage and the other lights that they wanted back there that had been requested, you know, like?
He said he ordered them.
Yeah, he said that like 2 months ago. See, that's the thing.
I'll follow up with
Okay,
that.
okay, because the electric's already back there.
Yep,
I mean,
yep,
it's just a
yep.
question of installing the, you know, actual fixture. Okay. All right, Ms. Rankin, apparently you took a walk down at Whiskey Creek.
Yeah, I just want to get together with Chris and kind of rethink our approach to this. There's been some additional information. I've gotten some people that have gone down there, so we might want to rethink our approach to this. So
Okay.
we can talk about
Yeah, okay. The light issue, yeah, I can give you an update on that. I know I've been meaning to get back to Mr. Spinnenweber. In fact, I have talked with him on and off about various things. You know, at the moment, of course, he's in the middle of sort of the big remodel at the bank building. He has a couple other things going on back there. So I'm not really certain that this would be a good time to, you know, until we know how he's gonna close up the back of the bank building and how he's gonna light that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can offer too much here, although I know you know, and I don't like this, and I wish there were something we could do about it, but,
Does it, and I don't fully know the scope of the remodeling, does it make sense to reference this so that if there is any change in the lighting, they do it and don't have to?
well, I guess that's what I'm partially suggesting here. When he closes up the back of the bank building, he will be lighting off the back of that building to pick up at least some part of that parking lot. Now, there may be a way that, you know, if he would lose a light on the back of the theater, the ones that bother other people, and light it off the back of the bank building, that might fix the problem, but I don't know that yet. But, you know. I
Does
will
it
be-
make sense to communicate now to him, or?
Well, they're not,
You're saying get it built in on
Get
the
it
front
done,
end?
Yeah.
Right.
Get it
So
planned
you
on the
don't
front
have to
end.
fix it after.
yeah, well, you know, this is not like one of those things that you've got to dig trenches and lay cement and all that kind of stuff. I mean, this is a lighting fixture on top of the building, but I can, look, I see the guys over there, I know the workmen, I know the guy that's in charge, you know, one of these mornings, I could just stop there and talk with them.
Well, let me know if you want me to do anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Chuck, what do you know about those wooden Duke poles?
I need contact information from whoever.
They don't have any. It's very strange. So if you call,
The numbers to call.
I'll see if I think I have it still.
I think
But
it-
they'll just
are
tell you
they in
that
that
they haven't
string of
done anything.
emails?
What do you
Yeah,
mean
it's in this-
with those?
Yeah, we
That
had it
string
in
of-
emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can find
have
it. I think
yeah.
I can
I
find it
have
too.
that, I can
Yep,
forward
yep.
it to you.
Okay.
I'll do it, I'll take that one.
I'll call their lawyer.
Worst case,
Yeah.
I have a chainsaw, I haven't used in a while.
Right.
Hey, Chuck,
tell
what I-
Chuck that?
I'll give their law department a call tomorrow and see if I can get a good number for you. That usually gets them moving, okay?
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, ooh, some sharps.
Well, that would be nice. All right, Susan, the
No.
Ohio Historic Building Preservation Tax Credit?
I don't have a report.
Don't have a report, thank you. Now, see, who put me on there? Tree committee recommendations, why am I down? Who put me down there for that?
I didn't do that.
So, you know, what, are you guys having fun with me?
Well, I think that, I mean, you take that off. We had an update from the tree
Yeah.
committee.
That seems silly.
But
They're
look,
working on their
I
plan.
will say this, the tree committee is doing a spectacular job. And so, you know, I have nothing but positive remarks to say about what's going on with the tree. And aren't we're putting in something like, how many is it, 40, 45 trees next year?
It's awesome.
You know, and we need a little buggy
gonna
to
be
go around
nice.
and water them?
Buggy, horse and buggy?
I do have to say, it is hard to water things, though, because I water the pots and things, too, and I have to get gallon jugs and
Oh,
haul
yeah.
them in and out of my car.
Yeah.
Driving around, and if you have to keep those trees
Right. Or-
watered, or they'll all die.
You know, I'm going to say something here that I might regret, but why is it that we can't get, we're planting these trees in front of someone's house? Do you mean to tell me that they can't go down there with the garden hose and
No.
water this stuff?
Well,
Why?
we try.
No,
We-
we
we
tried
try
that.
it- We try and we ask, and some people say yes, and some people can't
And
be
then that
bothered.
half of them forget about it.
Or somebody's elderly too.
But, I mean,
Okay.
the-
I
you
mean,
know,
I'm not
the
sure
tr-
why
the
we
tree
can't
board is on
use-
this. We're not gonna, work, they,
Take responsibility for some of your stuff.
Kristen and Barb and Mary Beth all worked very hard to get that grant. And they're committed, and I, as a member, am committed as well,
Sure.
and making sure it's successful. We want to get more grants.
Don't misunderstand me. Obviously, if we put the trees in, we have to have a backup to water them. It's just that I would like to think that the residents could participate and help us and go water a tree that's in front of their house.
Well, we're trying, but,
Okay.
you know, you can't, I mean, you know,
right.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
And make them water.
The other
I
thing
can't-
we've got, we're gonna be working on too, that addresses the question you had about what do you say when people call you? We, at our last meeting, we agreed to kind of come up with a frequently asked question.
Oh, no, the one gentleman, Gary Gray?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me the list, and I've been reviewing it. Actually, that was very helpful.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that, our goal is to get that on the website.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Larry.
Okay,
So we
very.
just,
Larry
we just
Gray.
had a lot of,
Gray.
I mean, we had our December meeting, we listed all our priorities and ranked them. I've not seen everything netted out.
Okay. Well,
But
well,
keeping
on
trees
those-
alive is pretty
Can I
high.
there's some outstanding things, and I'm just curious about them. So we've got a facilities, I would say all of our facilities, I'm gonna say 20 are in our plan. So that we need to build that out. And we'll probably also need to fund portions of it for people to do assessments and lay it out for us. Is that something that would go on this list? Where does that live?
A 20-year facilities.
Well, so if
Oh,
you
you
think about
don't
it, that's
care.
actually the
we
subcommittee
plan
that
for-
Kelly and Randy and I are in is looking at that too, remember? That's part of the Ohio plan thing, is what is one of the elements?
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Well,
So
I
we're
would.
looking at that.
We're looking at that, and I think we should, you know, we should look to be doing it, of course. I think we should also look, though, that is something that could be done in-house. I mean, you know, we now have Mr. Barlow, that might be something that he could clearly undertake.
It just makes sense in advance of next year's capital improvements budget, that we perhaps have something structured to go off of.
Absolutely.
And then start allocating and planning for roof replacements and planning for whatever else we need.
Yep.
Okay. So that was one question. Second question is, if we do not have adequate facilities, how do we structure that conversation?
I'm not sure I follow that question.
Oh, just going off of Chief Hines saying we don't have enough space for people. So is that something we are assessing? In how do we not lose it and move that forward? So that would be my second question.
Well, as I said, I mean, that is one of those questions that sort of drifts in and out, you know, in terms
Yeah.
of, you know, in addition to the building and, you know, talking about more space and that kind of a thing, but I mean,
Well, that's
actually.
number 8 on our list, though. That is where I think, it says master plan for improving office space in the municipal building, so we have it.
Because like, how many spaces do we need? How many are we currently accommodating? How many will we need? It doesn't have to be done immediately, but but it sounds like if we invest in repairs in this building, we should know, right? If we're going to seriously renovate it at some point.
It was
Because-
on the agenda for years under committee of the whole. and
I think part of our overall comprehensive plan, I think that's the time we.
Address it,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's some stuff we've talked about. I agree with you. You know, we don't want, it's just like looking at the pool or the tennis courts. Oops, we didn't account for this.
Yeah.
You know, what about these facilities? So I think we need to do the same approach.
That takes some time and probably bringing in some outside experts, so that makes sense. Okay, cool. that works. I'm just still learning how the whole process flows. The final thing is, we passed a resolution to form a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee and to make recommendations to the full council, and I'm just wondering where that's supposed to live.
I mean, like this committee?
I
or-
don't think we've formed that committee yet. I think we have the resolution, but we've not formed it.
Right.
So
So she's asking who should lead that process.
let's do it. Susan, I think you were interested in that. I'm interested in that. So if anybody else is, we
Are you
could.
volunteering?
No, not right this second. But, no, I mean,
Wait a minute,
I
you
do
brought
have
it up.
some capacity. I have capacity, but if I
Well,
drive
then
it, it will be, it won't flow as well. Just, I can participate, but I can't organize be the driver, but I can absolutely participate in it.
Are we talking about a committee that would be organized, outside of council members? It would be a resident type of a,
I believe
Well, I
that's
think
what
it
the
has to be
resolution.
defined, right? I mean, is that what you're,
The resolution, I think, said it was, well, and it could appoint, I don't believe it's even reserved to residents of Marymount. It could
Oh.
even include some outside.
we could bring outsiders into our village to do it.
Yes, and we could also tear down the pergola, but we're not gonna do those either. No, but, yes, there's some flexibility built in.
Well, why don't we revisit that question, the first of the year?
I'm happy to do that, but yeah, I don't know if it should be
Let's,
put on.
yeah,
this.
let's keep it on the list, because you're right, we did all that, because I had 2 or 3 residents that came up to me. I had a meeting this week, it came up again, about where are we? And I said, we've done this. But to your point, we could have, it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to walk the walk.
Right.
So that's why I'm glad how we approached it.
because that was passed a while ago, too.
It was passed a few months ago, and it's probably appropriate. I mean, I think that it will be something in the context of budgeting too, to take a look at and see what we want to do.
You mean it's gonna cost money?
If it matters, right, it costs money.
Take it out of the Centennial Fund.
You know what, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't
Well,
have to
we'll,
cost a
like I
lot.
say, we'll revisit, we'll get back to the first
But
part of the
thank you.
year. Yeah.
Those are my 3 questions.
Okay. Anything, now Randy, I know you wished,
Oh, I just wanted to recognize this body, and it's been my pleasure this year. We did a lot. We did some heavy lifting. I'm not getting paper checks anymore. I mean, that's, and I'm speaking for everybody, because, without all of us, none of this happens. Susan, that you were able to get the employee manual done, the diversity thing. Leah, how you've taken over the pool. I think the pool's on a trajectory. We had a great committee, but I think you stepping in with the passion have made a big difference. We've got all of the roads that you did all the work to get all those done at the square, and Marcy, the work you did rewriting all the ordinances to, we had the historic district taken care of, but we didn't have the other. And that was something we needed to do. We have a foundation now. We didn't have a foundation. We have a naming ordinance. I looked at it. We did 28 ordinances this year.
gosh,
We did, Rod talked about, we did 60 rental inspections. It's the first time we've done rental
Yeah.
inspections
Yeah, that's
in years.
in a while.
So that was impressive. So
Yes.
28 ordinances. We rewrote 152, the thing that allows us to inspect these. That was a lot of hard work that we did. Here they are, 75
Oh,
resolutions.
could you read them?
So I guess, and the other thing that struck me was this is the first time since 2011 that everyone stayed here all year, and everyone here is elected. And that's the first time since 2011. So,
Yeah. Well, that's
so
a,
there's something to say about that. We're going to be in the black again. And there were years, when we were not.
Exactly.
And, I just want to thank everybody because you didn't take the easy way out. Ed stopped me after one of our council meetings and said, you guys are doing some good work. And I just want
That's
to
nice.
recognize all of you and tell you that it's my pleasure to be associated with you.
Right back at you, Randy.
Agreed.
yeah, good speech, Randy.
Brian?
All right, look, I just want to
Okay.
wish everybody a really Merry Christmas. Have a good holiday. We'll see y'all back here after the first of the year. Enjoy the holidays. That's what they're Yeah.
And thanks to
What
Leah
they're
for
there for.
organizing the employee
Yes,
lunch.
Yeah.
that
Yes,
today,
thank you for
another-
that.
Another thing.
Yeah, very good.
And Notre.
I'll have a proclamation the first thing.
You got any of that good paper left?
All right, we're adjourned.
Do I need to do anything